What's your take on the whole Hollywood thing that's happening with all the sexual assaults and
Me too.
Me Too?
I'm not in Hollywood, but I have to say Me Too. I think it just comes a time when certain things have to come to light. And it's just a moment where you're in the time of women leadership, right? We know that. We saw it at the Women's March. We've been seeing it in terms of women being elected, women running for office, and that's just the time that we're in. And so women are really reclaiming our time, speaking truth to power about things that have happened to us. I think that a lot of conversations that my son and I have been having is around having a balanced conversation where we're telling the truth, where we're, also acknowledging our role as women and how to actually make this stop. But I think that you got to go back and really look at the history of rape culture, where it came from, how none of us in this room or people who are telling these stories are the ones who sort of created it. It's existed well before us, but it's time for it to stop. And in order for it to happen, it's going to be some painful stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, I heard the audio recording of Harvey Weinstein trying to get that girl in his room, and I cringed. It was hard to listen to. And ultimately, if you did a sexual assault, you did a rape, statutory rape, all that, you should go to prison. I'm 100% for it. My issue with some of these situations is this. Like, let's just say my son. If a girl popped up and said, in 1997, my son grabbed my ass, and I was not, it really upset me. So, what's the name of your organization that you're part of?
The Justice
League.
Justice League. Suddenly the Justice League announces that, based on allegations, we can no longer do business with my son. He is let go from whatever position. Whatever shows you had booked are being canceled. And you're talking about an event 20 years ago. Like George Takei just got accused of attempted rape from 1981. We're talking, what is that? 26 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, but I've had this conversation.
And my thing is, where is the balance in terms of culpability on the accusers?
That's been my conversation for the last couple of weeks, and like you said, I feel if a man harasses, rapes, all of these things, he definitely should be punished. But there also has to be culpability, like you said. There has to be some responsibility. You come up 30 years and said that I grabbed your hand and it made you feel uncomfortable, and now my whole life is in jeopardy. And even if we find out you're lying, there's no consequences to that.
Right, like look at the Nelly situation.
Exactly, and that's what I brought
Nelly
up.
was arrested for rape. All through the headlines. I'm sure financially he took a hit off of that. Ultimately, the woman ended up dropping the charges, not cooperating, and her identity was never released. I mean, do you personally feel as a woman that if you make this type of accusation, you have to put your identity out, or do you feel like the identity of the accuser should be kept secret?
Well, I think a couple things about this. One, I think that the identity should be kept secret until if you find out that a person lied, then yeah, they should face consequences. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it happen, and I always tell people that like my feminism represents men as well, right? So I believe that I have a son who's 18 years old. I have to think about him when I'm thinking about how we operate as women and what he deals with, right? But one, I want to say that this hypothetical conversation around the idea that my son touched someone in 1997 or touched her hand and didn't like it or whatever, none of that has been the reason why people are losing their jobs or losing their relationships. It hasn't been that minute. So these conversations, what you're hearing about is big stuff, like people, molesting children, people having lots of women coming forward with the same story. You haven't really seen one or two people come forward with he brushed by me and now the person loses everything. Like no one has that. Where have you seen that? So I think when we make these when we.
I've actually seen them.
Where?
When I was in London, they was talking about it.
Well, who did it happen to, Mike?
I don't remember exactly who it was, but I was watching television, and the lady was saying, you know, it's sad when these allegations that, you know, they kind of put a damper on women who are really dealing with issues and have, you know, reliable claims.
Yeah, but I understand it. What she's basically saying is telling people, let's talk about the real incidents that have happened. I'm just trying to say, for the purpose of this conversation, that I don't think that men should start to feel defensive about things that are. It's not really the issue. The issue is not small infractions or you brush by me. The things that we've been hearing about in the Me Too campaign is they're real serious issues where people have really violated children, multiple women, raped people. Like, so I don't.
But that's not really accurate, because we were just having about this. Somebody came and said something about Reverend Jackson.
Okay,
they didn't say that he raped anybody.
Oh, so Reverend Jackson has an accuser.
But can I just say this? The young lady told her story, but nobody did anything to Reverend Jackson.
But that's not
as a
really
result
accurate,
of
because
it.
you don't know, because a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see a whole bunch of people jumping on the Reverend Jackson story where you now see that he's like people are disassociating themselves with him and all that. I don't see that happening. But I do think that people have the right to tell their truth. And I'm not saying that Reverend Jackson did it, didn't do it. I don't even know. I read a little bit of it. So let's be very clear about that. I'm just saying that I don't see that story has hurt him in a way that requires us having this conversation, when we know that the real balance, this real conversation, is about people who have committed crimes against women and children.
But if you got to think about it, because in all of these cases, like there are very dramatic situations. There are some who have committed crimes. But then even if you look at Bill Cosby's case, there are women who saying shit that don't even make sense. It's some of them that's saying, you know, I don't know what happened. I felt kind of dizzy. I don't know if he touched me. You know, he told me to go to his room. I don't know if he actually touched me, but I think it's women that just coming up with stories that don't even make sense.
Yeah, but the problem with that is be faithful to your wife. You won't have to deal with
No, we hear that.
For real.
Well, but here, we're not actually talking about just women anymore. Now we're talking about men. And other men.
Yeah.
So, for example, you know,
Kevin Spacey.
Well,
Kevin Spacey's one.
Kevin Spacey's one. You know,
Lost House of Cards,
and a bunch of other stuff.
New movie he was doing.
Yeah, new movie got scrapped, and one movie got reshot. They literally took him out of the movie, put another actor in, and reshot every scene.
Yeah.
But then there was Benny Medina.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about this?
I didn't even hear about Benny.
This is the co-creator of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I know who he is.
Yeah.
And also manages J-Lo and.
But do you understand that these people are in positions of power? Like, and it is true that there are men who are in positions of power who have used their power in ways that have hurt people.
But can I ask you a question? And I ask her this, you know, and I want for the audience, when they hear it, to answer it. Are there women who utilize their sexuality to gain power from men of power?
Well, I've had women tell me they were pregnant when they weren't.
Right.
What?
Yeah. I think that's a common thing.
You know,
I've
you
heard
probably
that a
know
million
someone
times.
who's done
I've
this.
heard it a million times.
You know what I mean?
And the only thing that what I argue with my son, and we've really had real strong debates about this, is one, men need to tell their stories, and two, even if a woman is using her sexuality to gain power, that still is the responsibility of men to stop it from happening. Because what that means is that
So there's no
she's
responsibility
coming.
on
What
the
that
woman?
means is that she has found, or she's been told, that her value is her body
And the man's
and
been told
sex,
his value is
right?
his power.
Right? That's what she's been told. But then who still has the power in
That's
that
what I'm
situation?
asking you.
She's
Who?
still using her body to go into a situation to try to gain power because she is
And
clear.
she's using her power. He's using his power to go into a situation trying to gain her
but
body.
he still has the power. That's
How?
still the power.
Because
is
they
still,
both is a bartering system. If you
can't-
have power,
you can't say that.
just
I'm
think about it.
using
If
my
you have power
my sexual
and you want sex,
presence,
right? And you know that your
But
power
that's illegal.
can get you sex. What do you mean?
That's illegal.
So is it not illegal for you to use your sex to get power?
Okay, whatever.
I'm just asking a
the
question.
bottom line is that it still becomes the person who has the power in this situation is the man that is either improperly approaching a woman
Or a man.
that had or a man or has set the tone that the way to get something from me is that you have to come in here and use your body and your sexuality.
But who set that
and
tone?
that is not
So
that
you're
is
trying
not
to tell
okay.
me that women don't come and try to offer themselves to men that who
And
have
I-
never give them any inkling or
Yeah,
anything?
it's because and I think that is because women have been beat down to a place where we feel that that's our value sometimes, and that is something that has to be addressed by the people who have the upper hand in that situation. The person that has the upper hand in that situation is in fact the man.
I just don't agree with that because a lot of men who weren't able to get girls their whole life until they got some money and some power.
Exactly, and
So
that's
how
what
they-
they've been taught.
So that's what I'm saying.
And,
It's the same
and
way.
I'm saying
So
to you that in order for us to change that, men have to start having conversations with
and
younger
women have to
men.
start having conversations with
Yeah,
younger
but we
women.
do that all the time.
And we
That
have
that
this-
happens all the time. And I've had too many men tell me in these situations, oh, well, we can't change what men are going to do, but women can stop, dressing a certain way or approaching men a certain way because men don't like to take responsibility for other men. And if men started to set the tone with younger men that we are no longer
right.
going to allow this to happen. If you are a rapist, if you beat women,
That's
if
right.
you objectify women, you are not cool.
That's
you
right.
can't hang out with us
I don't
if this
think
is
none
your
of us.
if this
I
is your
don't think
behavior.
no man that I know has
Then-
ever made a rapist cool.
That's not true.
Not
That's
that
not
I
true.
know
Men
around
are
me.
men are around other men, knowing that they beat their wife, or that they have raped somebody in the past,
I don't
or
think so.
or
Not-
they around. So how
There's
do they
probably
have
are.
friends?
Okay,
they
so-
have friends.
But
They
that's
have
like
people
me
that's
telling
still
you
around
that
them.
women are around other women that know that they sleep with men for money and sleep with men for power.
Yeah, but I
and
would
they not saying
argue with
anything.
you.
So
but
that's
I
what
would
I'm saying.
argue
Is a
with
two-way.
you.
All I'm trying to get you to say
But I would
is
argue,
there's
my
a two-way
son,
street.
I would argue with you that a woman who has been found to be that type of person is way more embarrassed and treated a certain way by other women.